Good morning, how's everyone? I am continuing my daily Q&A with all of you, and a lot of people are asking questions from this book, You Are the Universe, Discovering Your Cosmic Self and Why It Matters. You can, of course, send me any question, and your questions should be sent to info at jayo.com. Once again, please send your questions to info at jayo.com. info at jayo.com. Today's question is from Marcia, and she says, hello Deepak. Recently I was diagnosed with severe insomnia due to my anxiety and panic attacks because of the death of 3 family members this past summer. How can I get a good night's sleep? I have sleep anxiety now, and it's so difficult to get a good night's sleep. I don't want to get addicted to these sleeping medicines. I hate it. What do you think about using marijuana? How can I heal myself? I need your feedback. Marcia. So this is a problem that more than 50%, or actually almost 70% of people in the in the United States have. And so I thought it's good to address this. First of all, recognize that sleep is the most efficient way for anyone to improve their well-being. During sleep, there are 2 phases, dream sleep and deep sleep. During dream sleep, we usually get rid of the stresses in our mental and emotional bodies. And during deep sleep, we get rid of toxins that build up in our physical bodies. So, in fact, during deep sleep, there is the removal of amyloid from the brain. There is also self-repair, and there is also a return to homeostasis, which is self-regulation. If you have a good night's sleep, you wake up energetic and almost blissful. You say, I had a beautiful sleep, I slept like a baby, and you experience a joyful, energetic body. You also experience more love and compassion in your heart. Your mind is clear and rested. And as time goes by, if you combine good sleep and meditation, and other things that I've mentioned, like healthy emotions and exercise and yoga and pranayama and nutritious food and grounding, then you begin to enjoy what is called lightness of being, or the experience of flow. The experience of flow is amazing because you have an experience of flow. No regrets, no anticipation, no resistance. You have the experience of timeless being. You have loss of ego self, and everything comes to you spontaneously. You have spontaneous right action, spontaneous right behavior, and you connect with your soul. So, if you don't have good sleep, all of that is interfered with. I don't know how many of you know that recently the Nobel Prize went to scientists who discovered genetic clocks in our bodies. In fact, they're in the bodies of all living species that monitor basically the rhythms of the universe. The most common one of them is called the Circadian Rhythm, which is a rhythm that occurs as the earth spins on its own axis. But there are seasonal rhythms, and there are gravitational rhythms, and there are lunar rhythms, because we are part of the harmony of the cosmos, and our biology dances to it, even though we cannot hear the tune. That's why sleep is one of the most efficient ways of resetting your biological clock. Of course, if you combine it with what I call grounding, which is if you walk on the earth barefoot, or walk on the beach barefoot, or the grass barefoot, or you have a grounding device, which you can, by the way, get very inexpensively from Jio.com. So if you go to the marketplace of Jio.com, you would be able to buy a grounding device very inexpensively, and that will also ground your biology to the earth. So when you are grounded, negative ions come from the earth and neutralize the free radicals that build up in your body as a result of stress. I would suggest that, Marcia, you get a grounding device also, and you can go to the marketplace Jio, Jio.com, and you can get it. Okay, so those are some of the most important things for well-being: good sleep, meditation, grounding, healthy emotions like love, compassion, joy, equanimity, nutritious food, exercise, and if you want to add to that, yoga and pranayama. If you do all that, you won't have insomnia. But I want to tell you some things which are very specific for insomnia, and I'll do that as soon as I come back in 15 seconds. Okay, so during the break, a lot of people said they used grounding devices and they helped them. So once again, you can get them by going to Marketplace on Jio.com. Somebody said they use Ambien. I would recommend that you don't. So sleeping pills in general do not induce natural sleep, and I would avoid them. So here are some of the most important things you can do for sleep. Okay? The best way to have a joyful sleep is to be active and busy during the day. And also, I already mentioned the pillars of well-being. I mentioned the pillars of well-being, so I'm not going to repeat myself. So what do you do before you go to sleep? First of all, ideally, do try and sleep before 10 p.m. After 10 p.m., your mind will start to get active, and also your biological clock will switch over to a sleep mode, which is very necessary. But if it doesn't, if you stay up, then that will cause disruption of hormones, and that includes hormones like leptin and ghrelin, which can cause you to be at risk for overweight or obesity. In fact, many people don't realize that resetting your biological clock and getting good sleep is a very important way in which you can lose weight, because these hormones regulate your appetite and metabolism. Also, sleep decreases inflammation, and people who don't get enough sleep are at risk for premature death from cardiovascular disease, and also have low-grade inflammation in the body, which causes them to be at risk for Alzheimer's, dementia, and other chronic non-communicable diseases. So sleep is very important, okay? And I mentioned what you can do to bring about balance in your body. But let's talk about things you can do in the evening. Try and go to bed before 10 p.m., number one. Number two, try not to eat at least 2 hours or 3 hours even. 2 or 3 hours before you go to sleep. Ginger, the movie, says 10 p.m. is Pitta hours. Yes, that's why it's not good to be up after 10 p.m. It increases Pitta or inflammation in your body, according to Ayurveda. Okay, so try and go to bed before 10 p.m. Try not to eat before at least 2 hours before you go to sleep. Make your bedroom a place just for sleep. So don't have television there. Do not read. Do not watch TV. And condition your mind to associate the bedroom with only sleep or sex, but nothing else. So your mind should be conditioned to associating the bedroom with sleep. The next thing is make your bedroom, when you go to sleep, as dark as possible. Okay, so absolute darkness or darkness in general increases melatonin levels. And melatonin is the natural hormone secreted by your pineal gland that resets your biological clock. So try and make the room as dark as possible. Jayo is JIYO.com. JIYO.com. Okay, so what was I saying? Make the bedroom as dark as possible. Make the bedroom as silent as possible. So no sound, and yes, no reading, because reading engages your mind and you don't want to do that. So no reading, no television. Make the bedroom as dark as possible. And now there are some technologies. One of them is actually a technology that I created with Rudy Tanzi, and this is called the Dreamweaver. It's a pair of goggles that you put on, you close your eyes, and then what happens is it feeds light and sound and binaural beats into your brain and slowly dials down the frequency of light and sound from what is normal waking frequency, which is, more than 14 hertz, slowly dials it down to first between 7 and 14, and which is a relaxed state, and then between 4 and 7, and then even below 4. And your brain locks into those frequencies and you fall asleep. Some people actually fall asleep in less than 10 to 15 minutes. So Marcia, you might want to look at this device. It's called Dreamweaver, and you can go to dreamweaver.com in order to get this device. Once again, dreamweaver.com is the site to go to if you want to use the technology that I just mentioned of brainwave entrainment, as it's called. Now, I'll give you something very interesting to try, and you can try it. Somebody asked about taking melatonin. Yes, you can take melatonin. The usual dose is about 5 milligrams, and I don't recommend that. But you can get a very small dose, 1/10 of that, 0.5 milligrams of melatonin, and you can order it online. I believe there's one company that makes it. It's called Pure, P-U-R-E. So I'm sure if you go to Amazon or wherever, you can find melatonin 0.5 milligrams. There are other things you can take. Phenylalanine, you can take hot milk, a little bit of hot milk with a little bit of honey, and that will stimulate your own neuropeptides. So all of those things you can take. But here is something that I discovered myself. So, I wear all these devices. This is a Fitbit, which tells me everything from exercise to how much I sleep and my heart rate. And the Fitbit actually doesn't measure sleep, and yet you can actually find out how much you slept. For example, last night I slept 8 hours and 14 minutes. The day before I slept 8 hours and 18 minutes. The day before that I slept 8 hours and 12 minutes. So how did this red wine, not good for you? It causes inflammation, actually causes disturbance in sleep. You might fall asleep with red wine in the beginning, but it will cause disturbance in sleep later. Okay, so how does a device like this tell you how much you slept? It turns out that when you're in deep sleep, your muscles get paralyzed. And so this picks up muscle paralysis and then correlates it with algorithms that tell you how much you slept. There are other devices that I use as well. So I started to realize that if the brain senses muscle paralysis, it might get fooled into resetting the biological clock for sleep. So what I started experimenting with is I started to lie down and practice a form of yoga nidra. Basically what I would do is I would observe my breath without judgment, of course, without manipulation. But at the same time, I would pretend that I was paralyzed, that I couldn't move my muscles. In fact, I would not move my muscles. And within 10 minutes, the brain would get fooled through feedback. Tunic Unique asks, there are a few mantras that are good. I'll give you one. So what I started to do is I would lie absolutely still and pretend that I was already asleep, pretend that my muscles were paralyzed, observe my breath. And then I started to add a mantra, and this mantra, Tunic, is Om Agasti Shaina. I'll repeat it. Om Agasti Shaina. Om Agasti Shaina. Not loudly, but in the beginning maybe loudly, and then whispering it, and then just mentally repeating it while observing the breath and pretending to be already asleep or pretending that your muscles are paralyzed. Try that, my dear friends, and you will see that very fast you will find that you fall into deep sleep. So that's my little list of all the things that you can do to enjoy deep sleep, enjoy the dream state. But there's much more to that. Sleep is getting in touch with your soul, going beyond subject-object split. And during sleep, we have what people call unconscious creativity. We have reorganization of information. We have self-repair. We have awareness, even though there is no experience. And so many wisdom traditions say deep sleep is a window to the subject-object split disappearing, but awareness remaining. And those of us who are where to buy this item, Dreamweaver, just go to Deepak Chopra Dreamweaver.com. Deepak Chopra Dreamweaver.com. So not Brainweaver, Deepak Chopra Dreamweaver.com. Deepak Chopra Dreamweaver.com. Okay, so I'm going back to the spiritual tradition. Nitin Kumar, Advaita, yes. In deep sleep, we rest in awareness, even though there is no experience. There is awareness without experience, non-local awareness. So if somebody says loudly, your house is burning, then you respond because there is already awareness. Okay? There is already awareness. So there is awareness with experience, which is waking state and dream state. And there is awareness without experience, which is pure awareness, which is the same as what happens in deep sleep, but in the deeper understanding of non-duality, Advaita, that is also death, physical death. In deep sleep is a window to that. And here's what we can learn to do. We can learn through Yoga Nidra how to have witnessing awareness in deep sleep. And when we have witnessing awareness in deep sleep, then the body and the mind are asleep, but the witness, that is you, core being, is fully awake. And when the witness is fully awake in deep sleep, dreaming, waking, we call that cosmic consciousness, which leads to divine consciousness and ultimately to unity consciousness or enlightenment. So deep sleep is a window to non-locality. And I will talk about that at some other point, how deep sleep can be a window to your true self, which is beyond space and time, which is the immeasurable potential of all that was, all that is, and all that will ever be, the true self. Okay, I think that's enough for today, and thank you for asking the question, Marcia, because the question you asked is very important to a lot of people. Peter says, when there's witnessing awareness, is there really restorative sleep? Yes. Body and mind, metabolism don't change. The witness is ever awake. You are the witness of mind, body, and universe. You are the knowing element in every experience. Take care and try out some of my suggestions. God bless.